I'm Mitchell from Photo Enterprise, and I'm here with Miss Aniela at the photography show. You're a surreal fashion photographer. What would you say how you got into fashion photography?
I got into fashion photography mainly because I got involved in productions that involved models and all of the stuff that you see in fashion, but it wasn't so much fashion that interested me. It was about making fine art from the pictures and doing something different from general fashion photography that you see. I wanted to make personable images that could be images that people want to hang on their walls. Pictures that are complex and personal and are beautiful as well, something a bit different from the usual.
And certainly it works. Your images look amazing. How long does it take you to create an image from conception to clicking the shutter?
It can vary. Sometimes it takes quite a long time, sometimes quicker than others. Depends on how much Photoshop work I do to it. And sometimes I don't know how much Photoshop work there's going to be because I don't necessarily always plan out how the final picture's going to look unless it looks obvious to me in front at the time, in front of the camera. Sometimes it can take hours and hours, and sometimes it can take half an hour to edit. Generally speaking, it doesn't take longer than about 2-3 days of, a few hours sessions of editing. But a lot of time is spent thinking and trying things out, so that can take days or weeks as well, periodic sessions of time where I'm actually sitting and thinking about what to do.
And certainly Photoshop editing takes a hell of a long time. If somebody wanted to follow in your footsteps, what would you say to them?
I'd say don't. No. I'd say, well, it's tricky because I don't really know necessarily what I'm trying to be or where I'm trying to go, because I follow my gut instincts a lot with my work. I don't necessarily want to achieve this certain level of fame in any particular pocket of photography industry. I go a lot with a bit of a cliche, but go with your passion, and I go with what makes me tick. So when I make a picture that really excites me, like when I first started creating these surreal fashion images, I wasn't sure who would buy them or who would license them or what would happen with them, and still they're a little bit confusing genre-wise, but that's because I go with what excites me. I guess that's what I would say to someone. I'd say go with your gut instinct. If you want to make for the happiest life, if you want to make for the most successful life, then I think you should think more about how your work relates to genre, because that's how you will be the most successful in photography. If people can easily identify what you do and where it fits. Sometimes there's a conflict then between success and happiness, and that's very much something that preys on my mind a lot.
Fantastic. And you host a fashion shoot experience event. Can you tell us more about that?
Yep, the fashion shoot experience is something that we've been running for years now. I produce a lot of my work on this event simply because it's a shoot. It's not so much a workshop. I shoot, other photographers come, we all just shoot and we all create. And that's basically what we wanted to do from the very earliest days, was set everyone free to just create and not be standing there lecturing at people and telling people how to do stuff. So we shoot in London, we shoot in New York, we shoot in LA, Iceland, France, and new locations being added year by year. And we just basically put on the best production that we can, because Matthew, my partner, and I both are passionate about photography, raising our game every year and creating exciting location shoots to create hopefully amazing epic images. And so we invite other photographers to come along so that the cost of it is all shared between us, and we can achieve things as a group that we wouldn't have been able to do on an economic basis individually. So we think it's a genius idea, really. We basically want to do what we would love to go to ourselves, and we keep doing them, and they're popular. People get their work published, licensed. You're able to do whatever you want with your pictures. That's really valuable to photographers today, whether you're semi-pro or pro, because you actually get to use your work that you shoot on our events in the real world. And that's something we really want to give to people. We think that's really important. So yeah, you can see testimonials and videos and lots more on the website, which is fashionshootexperience.com. So yeah, that's a rundown of it, brief one.
Really, really good idea, that. What advice would you give to somebody wanting to photograph in locations such as you've used?
Have a big wallet. No, Well, people ask how do we get into these locations? The main answer is money. Um, Most locations want to be paid. Now, how do you get that money? That money can be, it all depends on what the project is. Our fashion shoot experience has the budget from the collective photographers that join us to get into these locations, so it's shared between us. That's how it works. On commercial shoots, we approach locations. Sometimes we do a contra deal where they might have advertising in the magazine or whatever we're shooting for, but also partial payment. Sometimes we do a trade. But it's also about communication, being polite and telling a location what they'll get out of it. But generally speaking, it's important, I think, to think about budget, because if you spend money on your pictures, it can pay you back later. It's an investment. So don't be scared of spending money. If you believe you can produce something that's a real asset, a commodity to then sell as a photographer yourself and get that money back and put it back into your business. Don't be scared of doing that.
Fantastic. And your really creative shots are enhanced so much with Photoshop. What would you say to skeptics of Photoshop? I love it, by the way.
Photoshop is something that is all about context. It's all about whether it's appropriate. I don't think Photoshop necessarily is appropriate for photojournalism, for example, where the image is purporting to be real, truth, but then you've got creativity and fine art photography where anything goes. And there's images where I look at them and I think there's too much Photoshop. There's images where I look at them and I think it could have been made better in Photoshop. Essentially, it's just a tool, and it's a tool to make your images better as far as they can be made better. When I do my work, sometimes I have to rewind, go back, take some Photoshop out of it. If I feel it's been overcooked, and sometimes I feel like it needs a little bit more. It's all about individual needs of a picture, and I think many times I've been tempted to think, should I try and use less? Should I try and use more? There's no answer to it. You just use however much is appropriate for the vision you're trying to achieve. There's no right or wrong. So I just think, I just say to people, use what is necessary to make the picture look like what you're trying to achieve with it. And unfortunately, there really is no hard and fast answer to whether it's yes or no to Photoshop usage on a picture. It's about what works.
Okay, cool. What's your favourite location that you've ever shot at?
There's so many lovely locations I've shot at, honestly, beautiful locations around the world, but the one that always comes to my mind is Ayno Park in Oxfordshire in England. It's a stately home, it's a hotel, but it's like a stately home that's been done up with taxidermy and quirky British eccentric props. And I love how modern and yet classic and quirky and yet opulent, all these things at once, the location is. We've shot there a couple of times on commercial projects. And yeah, that's the one that comes to mind and is the most inspirational. But I have to say my next most favourite location will be my own location that I'm creating at the moment, which is a new project I'm working on. So that's been taking inspiration from all my favourite locations that I've shot in over the years. And so watch this space.
Fantastic. Well, if people want to do exactly that, watch this space, and they want to find out more about you, what's your website and contact details on social media and everything?
You can see everything about me on missaniela.com, MISSANIELA.com, and there's links there to everything, fashion shoot experience, surreal fashion, Facebook.
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you.